Welcome to another Wave Talks About. Today we're going to be playing episode 2. This is Outland 09, the sort of technically the 9th map, but there's a few like sort of bonus maps that have a little A at the end, so it's a sort of midpoint in episode 2. You've just fought the helicopter and you're now kind of in the garage having your car fixed. So you're introduced to the main kind of problem of this map. The first part of the map is sort of introducing you to this new combine cannon. It's only used once in the entire episode, but it is a very kind of different enemy to face, as you'll see. And they introduce it really well in this map, particularly.
If you're up to it, we'll let you out there.
He's always up for it.
I'm always up for it.
I've got a trap door up here where I can let you over to the other side. That way you'll get to see the gun before it sees you.
So I guess here's a little bit of the level designer sort of telling us this is how we're going to do the gameplay. We're going to show you the gun, then you can take out the gun.
Good luck taking out that autocannon.
And of course we're sort of let into the door up here. This door was locked previously, and the rest of the parts are very obviously not ways we're meant to be going. We have a locked barred gate here, which has no lock on this side. And of course there is this door, which is barred with things we know we can't remove with our crowbar. Or, sorry, with our gravity gun either, actually, to be fair. So yeah, the map is well designed to sort of teach you to where to go without sort of realizing it. There is this one bug here I've noticed with the occluder, I believe, or with some distancing. I'm not quite sure what caused all this. Basically, yeah, whatever you did, Valve, don't do this. May as well just delete these, to be honest. So now we're introduced to the first area of gameplay. This is just kind of refamiliarize ourselves with zombies, because they'll be one of the main enemies of this particular section. Interestingly, you can smash the door down, but you can't go out that way. It's a door without a lock, and there's no way to progress through the door. It does have an interesting little bit of a no draw between the glass there. But yeah, don't worry, if your maps aren't perfect, episode 2 maps definitely weren't perfect either. We're given lots of physics prop to play around with, because of course at this point, you're fighting zombies. Physics props are a really good choice. My first choice is just going to be to let the zombie kill a lot of them themselves. Fancy doing a bit more of a job for me? No, not really. Okay. And of course, we've got other props we can refamiliarize ourselves with. We have the classic canisters, which of course ignite on impact and set the zombie on fire. You'll notice the area is full of barrels, so the zombies can use them, and so can you. And you've also got the classic saw blade, which is again probably my favourite way of dispatching zombies of all time. Ooh. And I always find the biggest challenge is when the head crabs come off. Easily dispatched. Now this area, they're not infinitely spawning, which is useful. There are some goodies, but these goodies don't use the regular mechanics. These are set goodies which are going to be useful for the player later on. Okay, bro. Need that magazine ammo. So I've got magazine ammo here for the SMG. But the one in the truck that was for the grenade ammo is also deliberately given to the player, because it will be useful later on. So now we're given a window, we can safely watch what the gun does from a distance. You can see it's a pulse gun, which has sort of about a second timer. It locks onto you, it gives you a second, and then it shoots. It does an immense amount of damage, as I'll potentially try and demonstrate without getting myself killed too frequently. But yeah, it's not the most challenging thing. There's a few zombies just to deal with in this area, just so it's not like completely devoid of anything. And again, we can still see the gun, we can still see it doing its thing, but we are not yet in danger from the gun. There's the classic Valve thing. I think there's something against crows that Valve have often use as a little guinea pig to kill off anything that demonstrates dangerous. So again, lots of little kind of combat encounters to keep us alert and awake, because we need to be alert for this section. Now, we could stand up, and we will instantly get obliterated by the 3 cannons. We get a second grace time, and the kind of thing that Valve does is they put the respawn point just here. Why they still force you to kill the poison head crab, I'm not quite sure. But they do give you a very kind of close respawn point, just so you kind of have a chance of not having to redo this entire section. And they give some grenades in this one, deliberately, and you can kind of tell why. We have got a turret ahead of us. Now obviously we may not choose to kill the turret with this. We could approach it, we could use the barrel as cover. We've got a lot of options still. The grenade is probably the fastest one. If I can actually get a lock on it. There we go. Oh, it's just jiggled it over. Oh well, never mind. We should still be fine with that. We can just use this if we need to. So yeah, not a foolproof one. They haven't given you infinite grenades for that one. But then there are other options to pass the turret as well, so it's not exactly needed. Yeah, eat this. So now we're given our first combine encounter, whilst also having to deal with the gun. This particular one is a little challenging. Depends on how you set up. The Combine move into this building as you get close, so if you approach this building quite quickly, you can get inside first and kind of get the drop on them. Not too worried about grenades, because I know we're going to get loads more. But I have taken quite a bit of damage from that encounter, so that's a shame. They give you plenty of things to restock and heal, because of course you will be needing it further on in this level. Not a lot around the back to find, but still worth exploring. Valve have done this level really well in terms of hiding goodies in lots of different places, encouraging you to look, but not forcing you to find stuff every time, so you don't feel like you have to check everything. An if-need-be basis. So cleverly now you might think, well hang on a second, how come these have survived? We've got the half-size zombies. We've got these blasted speedy head crabs, which I don't mind. They do force you to use a crowbar probably as a more efficient way of killing things in order to take no damage. We're going to crawl on through here. We'll meet another friend. Again, now we'll see as we break this crate, there's some more Combine progressing forward. And we can kind of let the zombies do their thing. But eventually they will turn on us as well. We have to be careful. There are zombies behind us as well, which we should be able to avoid by just keeping low. What's clever here is you can still see the cannons from the position you're in, and the cannons probably could still technically see you, but there are block vis brushes all over these cars just to make sure that you're mostly safe. So unless you really stick your head out like I did just then, you're going to be safe fighting the zombies and keeping low in that chasm. And again, these are deliberately chosen props. They deliberately give you the explosives, which will come in handy for solving the next encounter really efficiently. And as you can see, we're starting to get infinite grenades at this point. From now on, I think it's mostly infinite grenades we will have to help us with encounters. You might notice the Combine is starting to shoot me already. They've spotted me up here. So I can just start to nade this area. I can nade where they're going. I can nade where they will go. I should probably be able to clear out that entirely, actually, with just those. It's deemed that I need some help, which, yeah, probably did. Still a few alive, that's alright. Doesn't take long. And again, it's a really nice arena, so if you choose to jump down into here, you've got a lot of space to move around. It's been designed really well as a kind of a semi-major encounter with about 5 Combine to fight. You've got space to maneuver, they've got space to maneuver, so if you chose to jump down here instead of dealing it from above with the infinite grenades, you've still got a good chance of defeating them, and they've still got a good chance of outflanking you. It's one that you can use your brain with rather than just brute force your way through, which is quite a nice way to set up an encounter. In fact, the best way probably to. As you can see here, it's a very kind of a lightly detailed area. It feels a lot more detailed than it is. Really good use of textures and props just to kind of make this space feel expansive, but it really doesn't use a lot, to be fair. It's very, very simply designed. And now, of course, we have the puzzle of trying to kill the actual turret itself. You can see it's automated. There's nothing we can do to shoot it. It's got this very cool looking prop. But we do have a box of infinite grenades, which is the developer's way of saying this is how you should kill it. And upon pressing the button, we find it doesn't actually shut down the cannon, but it does open this little canister, and they've cleverly put this sort of a sucking particle effect just up here to indicate to you this is an air intake. Perhaps this is going to be something that will take this grenade inside. I'll yeet it in, and boom. I did get a little bit of damage from that, but never mind. We get this very cool explosion effect. It's quite simply done. There's the regular prop, which is animated to open when you press the button. And then there is the exploding prop. And upon installing the grenade, as a free upgrade for the Combine, when the grenade explodes, the model will just swap over. This prop dynamic, the original one, will just disappear, and this new broken one will appear. I believe these are also props too, if I remember correctly. So it's really kind of clever little effect. Really simply done. Not very expensive, but very effective for the player to indicate that this is now destroyed. And now the fun thing about this little particular section is that now that the gun has been destroyed, you're faced with a lot of zombies to take on. Of course, you can either choose to fight, or you can run back, and of course Alex will greet you. And there is a rebel who will help you, but this rebel is kind of powering away a little bit over here for the time being. And then you might notice the locked door's now been opened, so we can now progress back in here. And time for a new tutorial.
Not only did they help me fix the car, they threw in a bonus.
Special this week only. It's like an onboard radar for you guys. Picks up little beacon jobbers like this one here. We've hidden a bunch of these things out there in the field to signal emergency stashes. So keep an eye out. When you see your dashboard light up, you're going to want to stop and investigate.
I'll fill you in on the road, Gordon. Thanks again, you guys.
No need to thank me.
We get a lot of good visual cues here about the new mechanic they're introducing in this last section of the map. So the first section of the map is introducing us to the gun mechanic. This last section, the second half, is now introducing us to the radar mechanic. We're showing it very clearly by the chap here holding it in his hands. And of course we're given the radar on the screen over here, which is a really good kind of indicator of the two things you're going to be using for it already. And Alex will give us a little tutorial one as we go through the level here. It's quite a simple area, very simply designed, quite beautiful to drive through. It's a little bit more of a detailed version of what you might see in the original Half-Life in the driving sections. But it's still really efficiently drawn. It's just basic brushes used in a way to maximize their detail, but kind of minimize the amount needed. So of course this window goes right up to here. On a more detailed building there'll be a little strip here to sort of block that off and sort of give it a bit more depth. But they have chosen to sort of go the simple route because you're going to be driving past it and no one's going to be paying attention to any of this stuff. So why make it detailed? Why put any more effort into it than you need to? And for our tutorial one, we find a van, which I believe is a mesh, which is I think it's a displacement that's been placed over the van. And we can see the cache at the back that we want, but we can't get at it just yet. We can break it open. We can try and get these. But then we'll notice that the car has been wedged beneath two barrels, and you can probably guess now what we need to do. Let's get out our trusty pistol, pop two caps in that barrel's ass, boom. Access to our goodies. Now all of these caches have been designed around sort of restocking the player's weapons in different ways. Oh, there's the trigger for that one there. They all give you different kind of weapons and different sets of ammo. What's nice is around the areas they are a little bit more detailed, and you can explore them a little bit. There's not a lot in terms of goodies to find, but they have put a little bit more effort into the areas you do stop. so that when you do stop, you kind of get a chance to explore an area if you feel like it. And this particular one doesn't have a lot, but it does kind of tempt you to look around the others a little bit more, which is going to be a bit more useful later on. Come along, Alex. As you can see, this particular area here is very, very light in detail because there's not a lot to see. There's not a lot to worry about, not a lot to discover, other than the fact that I've now just got to drive into that. Whoops. But of course, then we have another one appear. And as you can tell, this little area is a little bit more detailed. The building has a little bit more depth to it. This is going to be one we can explore. There's kind of a couple of visual cues that this is a place you can be. And like me, you can just be stupid and take lots of damage, but hey. And we have another very cleverly communicated puzzle just here. This particular puzzle is probably one that is the least intuitive and is only used once, but it's pretty easy to understand. You have a sort of a car maintenance bay. There's a little dip in the ground. There is these explosion markers, these decals on the floor, indicating that this has had some sort of damage done to it. And the the rebels have devised a system of getting up here. It's very gamey. So you're kind of like, you've got this area you want to get the goodies, to get the rocket launcher. You don't have to get it here, but it is useful later on to have it. So you've been given this little bit of a brainy puzzle to figure out. So for this one, you've just got to place the grenade underneath the panel. The grenade will go off and the panel will launch you up into the sky. So you can activate the button and open the cage. And of course, you're given a little bit of health in case you're a bit stupid and take a bit of damage trying to figure out this puzzle. It's a nicely designed one. It's not too challenging, but it's challenging enough to sort of make the player think. And of course, there is a chance to just have to skip it. And that's okay too. With these kind of things, again, these are all optional extras. And I think these optional extras are useful because it stops the player stopping every 5 seconds. Having this sort of cache system is designed to make the driving sections more enjoyable. And sort of give you an indication that now is a good time to stop, to look for goodies. This is a place where there might be goodies, as opposed to just wandering around the level aimlessly.
Rocket launcher. That'll come in handy.
Thanks, Alex. Then, of course, we have our last cache to find, whilst I wedge myself on here. Good on you. Again, thankfully the gravity gun can make short work of these cars. And of course, there are the infinitely spawning zombies just slowly making their way around the area, just to kind of give the area a bit more depth and a bit more life. It doesn't just feel empty. It's difficult to make an area in Half-Life feel alive with infinitely spawning enemies, but of course it is kind of needed at times. Because there's no other way of doing this with the engine limitations you've got. And without sort of breaking the law of just having like, oh, it's just this random stash of people wandering around, random encounters and all that. The Half-Life games aren't designed like a Fallout game. This is another really clever puzzle. You know there's a cache in here based on the radar. Alex gives you the hint that it is in here. You can see there's a ladder on the roof, which it's a bit of a red herring. It doesn't actually help you with the puzzle. But what does help you with this puzzle is this saw blade here. And upon trying to pick it up, of course, the useful saw blade, you get the whole plank as well. Which is a really kind of clever mechanic, I think, to sort of indicate that there is a cache under here. And it's a good cache, this one. If you do manage to find it, it's worth getting. And then, of course, you get a few zombies to be able to take out with your cache you've just found. You can use the flares, you could use the explosive barrels. There's a lot that you could choose to use for this one. which is nice. It's not just an encounter that you can just sort of use your guns for. They've given you some good physics props to play around with to make the encounter feel a lot more enjoyable. There's a lot of stuff here that I just don't need because I haven't really used it, but again, you can see they're stocking you up on the variety of weapons you've got. You've even got lots of rockets in case you want to start spamming rockets at zombies for whatever reason. The game's got you covered. And of course, if you're one of those people that spent the time trying to shoot or fight off the infinitely spawning zombies, you've got enough stuff to restock the player in case they've been really stupid and not figured out that this is a game, and these are going to keep coming. So that's the end of this map. Hopefully this analysis was useful. Hopefully people find that useful if they're designing their own games or designing their own maps for Half-Life 2. But yeah, I'm going to leave this video here. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.